Hey guys, you're here for if Bungie is using AI tools to write text/lore in-game. This was mentioned by Spartan. What do we know? Bungie hired people to develop AI. They have AI based on ChatGPT, nicknamed BunGPT. They also use Copilot for searching and code generation, used to enhance productivity and reduce anxiety over using different tools. Information from 2023 says they are not using AI for art and they are considering the ethics of the technology. About a year ago, the former CTO mentioned some explorations around content creation and wanted to make sure they do the right thing. A former senior software engineer said layoffs have pushed the studio to rely more on contractors and AI. Sony has their own thoughts on AI, and that could also create new pressure since these statements. Steam has a mandatory disclosure section on whether you use AI in the development of your game. However, since the game is old, Bungie isn't forced to provide that information, but they should. As far as why Bungie would use it in lore, because generating text is easy and they don't have to give any credit. And they don't have to pay you. Some armor and weapon flavored texts in Edge of Fate read as if they are AI generated. They're generic, repetitive, and even contradictory in ways that do not match Destiny's style. Bungie has publicly acknowledged that they use generative AI tools, so it's a real possibility, and if it isn't AI, then Bungie's writing quality has just declined so sharply that it now resembles AI output. Bungie has openly acknowledged experimenting with AI, ChatGPT, BunGPT. Generative AI lead spoke at GDC about integrating AI tools into developer workflows and content creation. After the layoffs, former employees suggested AI would increase. This does not prove AI is in the game, but it establishes they have the capability, interest, and incentive. So, Lustrous versus Sublime Solstice Armor has 5 flavor texts, each beginning with Shine Bright 2, followed by a vague statement. This mirrors the Sublime Solstice set 2024, which also repeated the beginning We Celebrate, but those were written with concrete references to Solstice and Destiny. Here are some examples. Sublime 2024, We Celebrate with the heroism of Guardians past and present. Lustrous Helm, Shine Bright to illuminate the history of our heroes. The structure is identical, yet the wording is watered down into generic motivational phrasing. In addition, the Sublime set is the only previous Solstice set with flavor text, making it the only possible text that we have been able to use for reference for Lustrous, and this looks like AI paraphrasing. The Bushido armor text includes short phrases vaguely reflecting the samurai code. However, the Warlock chest says, "Humility is the ultimate luxury." And this line contradicts the samurai code. In Bushido, humility is a duty, not a luxury. The phrasing reads like a modern self-help slogan rather than historical or cultural writing that obviously anyone who's familiar with samurai would not agree. AI commonly makes this mistake of rephrasing without understanding any context. TechSec, Last Discipline, Smoke Jumper, Disaster Core, and Iron Beryllium sets. There are clear patterns throughout the 75 flavored texts that make up these free-to-play armor sets. Pseudo-profound generic slogans with no connections between them, uniform word count within each set, and many unusual short texts. Same style, voice, and no context, heavy use of cliches, repetition, and armor-related plays on words, no references to the Destiny world. AI tends towards this uniformity, given that these are free Portal armor sets, primarily reskins, requiring 75 flavor text. It's plausible that a time-crunch developer used AI to generate them in bulk. TechSec and Last Discipline. Police and RoboCop themed sets. They're filled with abstract, pseudo-profound one-liners about duty. These lines often imply contrast where none exist, and they also avoid specific Destiny terms instead of leaning on vague moral language. Restitution will preserve justifiable mercy. Your heart is protected, but your judgment is clear. Definitely could be AI. Smoke Jumper and Disaster Core, Firefighter and Cyberpunk medic themed. These flavor texts are all very short, 2 to 6 words, and lean heavily on cliché, first responder slogans, and references to fire. The Disaster Core text even borrows fire imagery and omit references to anything medical, suggesting possible shared prompts that I'm guessing were edited. Face first into the fray, leap first, land later, hair on fire. Bro, hair on fire, man. Iron Beryllium. This set follows the same pattern with texts that are blandly poetic, uniform in length and style, and read like they were paraphrased from a chemistry textbook talking about beryllium's properties. Only carcinogenic in certain situations. Fully immersed in a 25% nitric acid solution. Auric Disabler and Aureus Neutralizer trials weapons. Consider it done. You needn't ask twice. The names are synonymous. Auric Aureus is Golden Aura, Disabler's Neutralizer. The flavor texts are synonymous as well. In the past 11 years of Destiny, Bungie has never released two weapons with essentially the same name and identical flavor texts. This looks suspiciously like multiple AI generations of the same base prompt with just enough variation to avoid outright duplication. Why does this matter? Destiny's writing has always been part of its appeal. Despite its ups and downs, the writing is the foundation of the Destiny universe, and this game has given us some amazing works of art. If AI is now writing armor and weapon text, then the core of Destiny's world building is being compromised, with players being served machine-generated filler instead of human-made art. Also, if they're willing to use it for creating written content, where will they draw the line? If no AI was used, the Bungie writing team has been pushed so hard that the results read like AI anyway. Both scenarios are a cause for concern. And personally, pretty much all the lore has already been taken out of the game. What happens next? This report doesn't claim to prove Bungie is using AI, but there are striking patterns in their recent writing, and Bungie's own statements about AI make this a credible suspicion. As a community, we deserve transparency. If Bungie is using AI, they should say so openly. If they aren't, they need to address why their flavor text has declined into cliché and contradiction. Please check the next page for more lore examples. So I'll let you check out the examples on your own time.
Cheese forever, Guardian.